Hello and welcome back to the Bear Cave, or should I say the marketplace here. And Purple cooling his feet in the fountain on a warm sunny day. One of you pointed out on one of the earlier Purple videos that I'd given some slightly erroneous information regarding getting the most experience out of your quests. So big thanks to you for the heads up on that. And I thought maybe I would like to talk a little bit about the various parameters that can improve your experience gained during your questing, including this one that tripped me up. I mean, I've been playing the game several years and I didn't know about this, so it's probably the case that I play with such a blinkered approach, which is true, but we'll come to that another time, I'm sure. The fact remains, my main character is a druid, one of the strongest healers in the game, and yet time and time again I have let fellow party members die blissfully unaware that their health bar is almost to the bottom. So yes, tunnel vision, and it seems with the general information on the game as well. So I'll come to that, my specific one later. But I just wanted to go through with reference to the wiki. I'll link the wiki page that I am referring to. I wanted to sort of use the wiki as my bullet points and embellish it with my own experience. So I'm talking specifically, I'm not talking about experience from like wilderness areas or sagas or anything like that. I'm talking specifically about experience earned from quests, and more specifically from quest completion. So actually it's got the first item in here is the thing that tripped me up, isn't it? Yes. Okay. So let's talk about it now. It's this concept of a bravery bonus. Now, if you want to see exactly the feedback I got, have a look at episode 4, level 4 of Purple's Warlock Life. And there you will hear me at the start talking about running quests 3 levels over the base level. So for example, that quest was level 3, and my character level, I was saying I could run as high as level 6, and that's what I routinely do. Now I've become aware that that approach is costing me 50% of the bravery bonus. The bravery bonus is something given to you if you run for the first time a quest in each life on elite or reaper difficulty, and provided you are within 2 levels of the base level of the quest. So for that quest, which was a level 3, I could have been level 5 maximum, you get the full bravery bonus. If you are higher than that, you lose 50% of that bonus, which I would guess is quite a chunk. For the quests higher up in heroic, that's going to equate to several thousand, I would guess. So without going into too much detail, best plan for maximum experience, not what I said in that level 4 episode, it's to run excuse me, to run the quests with your character a maximum 2 levels above the base level of the quest. So in the case of that Catacombs quest, which is a level 3, we would have been level 5 maximum. I could try it out in a future life and see how the results compare. In Epic, by the way, it's 4 levels above the base. So if you are running, say, the Snitch in Fiarlan, you could be up to level 24 and still get the maximum bravery bonus. 25 plus, you're going to be losing half of it. That's as I understand it. So what else can we do to improve our experience gained? Well, there's a first time difficulty completion on each separate difficulty: casual, normal, hard, elite, reaper. And the higher up you go, the higher is that first time difficulty completion. Hence why people prefer to run every quest once and on Reaper 1 setting. So the lowest possible Reaper setting, but the highest difficulty still in terms of experience you can potentially gain. Right. Now it's talking about Tomes of Learning. Yes, this is a store-bought item. As far as I know, it did come, or maybe still does, with certain expansion packs that you can get in the game. Otherwise, I think it costs that there are... Right, so for the heroic, there is a lesser and a greater Tome of Learning, and then those give 25 and 50% boost to experience earned. That's for everything, and that's permanent. So on a character that you plan to do plenty of true reincarnations on, I would definitely recommend those. It's not one-time bonus, it's permanently on and it never goes away. There's an equivalent for epic that gives 15% and 25% for lesser and greater. Again, permanently on, they don't go away. If you have a character in the game that you really would like to invest plenty of lives into, these are really good investments in my opinion. Daily bonus. So the way things are structured now, I think, is to try to move move people away from the old practice of insane grinds on certain high XP quests, time and time and time again. And they've made, the way they've set it up, they've made, the one and out questing routine much more viable, and probably the best way to go about it. So just run each quest once. You'll get a daily bonus, a first time bonus, bravery bonus, and then move on to the next one. Don't start repeating quests too much. Obviously, if you're new and you can only open on normal, if you're not a VIP, you might want to rerun on normal or elite, on hard or elite, just to see if you can manage those and to earn a few extra points there. That I can understand. But to rerun otherwise, when you can open on Elite or Reaper, I think to me it's maybe the odd very high XP quest, but it's not something I do. It takes the fun out of the game. And also there is a ransack mechanic that when you start rerunning, you start losing quite a hefty chunk of the experience of the quest. The ransack does reset daily, but it's best, in my opinion, to just do the one and out thing. So what else can we, apart from just running each quest once? Right, yes, aggression bonus, killing monsters. So you can get up to 25% conquest bonus for killing lots of monsters, and on certain quests like the Devil Assault in the marketplace, where it's just waves and waves and waves of things, you can't help but get that because it's just part of completing the quest. What I would say about this, if you're running in a big group and maybe you allocate 1 or 2 people to mop up all the things in the side rooms, fine. But if you do a lot of solo, as I do, I think you have to make a bit of a judgment on when it's going to profit you to do these side objectives, and when it's probably best to just keep what you've got and go on to the next quest. Same goes for the destroying breakables. You'll learn through playing that there are certain quests, some in the cogs, very short quests. The Jungle of Khyber's another one I can think of, where there are few breakables or a lot of them in the same place. So it pays to just stop and break those. But if you have a quest like the odd one in the harbour, where there can be literally hundreds of breakables, and you're messing about for 10 minutes trying to get that 15% bonus, because that's the highest breakable bonus, 15%, then it's totally defeating the object, because you could have completed like 2 or 3 other quests in that time. So it's down to you, down to your own judgment to decide. Again, if you have a big group, some people could split up and just do the breakables, others could go to the end of the quest, that kind of thing. But if you're on your own, generally speaking, if there's a load of breakables in a quest, it's not going to be worth your while, in my opinion, to mess about doing those. So I guess I've learned by doing which quests have only a few, and so it will benefit me to do that. Same for the traps. Disarming traps, you can get up to a 30% bonus. Ingenious debilitation, that's called. 30% bonus for disarming the traps. So that can be very nice. And also secret doors. If you run around with a true sight item and just detect most of the secret doors in the heroic quests, 15% vigilance sight bonus waiting for you. So that's another possible source of XP. VIPs get an extra 10% anyway. Right, so this is under the sort of penalties and not re-entering. Okay, so if you can complete a quest without dying, 10% flawless victory bonus. It says here unconsciousness doesn't count as death unless you release, so there's a bonus to be had there. And without re-entry, if somebody leaves and re-enters, assuming you're not playing on Reaper, because you can't re-enter a Reaper quest, that's an extra 10% as well. I think we have more or less covered now. There's just one more thing. This business of optional objectives. You'll see during the course of your questing loads of different optional objectives. What I would say about this, in terms of making the best use of your time, you should, as a general rule, try and complete the ones that are more or less on your path. For example, the prisoners in the Spies in the House quest, or the optional bosses in the Jungle of Khyber. Totally worth doing those. Or the vampire pirates in Epic Two-Toed Tobias. But the stuff that's going to take you miles out of your way for notoriously low bonus XP. I say notoriously low because for some reason the developers don't seem to like to award meaningful optional objective XP, which really dissuades you from doing it if XP is your main motivator for running the quest, which for many of us it is. I have a feeling that this issue might exist because of the situation prevalent in the past, which was to grind certain optional objectives until your eyes were literally bleeding and you couldn't do it anymore. Yes, Wizard King in the Desert Sands, I am looking at you. That quest had several optionals, and the before recent changes, the, let's call it optimal, if you want to call it that, way of farming epic experience was to run, not to complete the quest, but to run those optionals until you couldn't take it any longer, and just keep racking up the experience like that, because at the time the optionals didn't ransack. Now they do, so it's not a viable strategy anymore. So I say again, I don't know why they can't make viable optional objectives in terms of experience given. So my advice on those is, by all means, go for the ones that are along your route, but if experience is a goal, and the optionals are like way out of your way, complete the quest and go on to another one. That's what I would do. Tome of Learning we've covered. Right, yes. Voice of the Master is a trinket that you can get from completing the Delira's Tomb chain, and provided you have that equipped, when it only applies, as far as I understand it, to the final experience in the quest completion experience, not to things earned during the quest. So provided you have that equipped before the quest is completed, people will often stop and say voice, unless they're like me and forget completely, and then it's, oh crap, I forgot again. Provided you have it before the quest is completed, you get that 5% bonus. Same for the Mantle of the World Shaper, which comes from the not very often run Ruins of Threnel chain. If you want to make things easier on yourself and not have to remember, and also have the benefit of an always on 5% experience boost, check out my Master's Gift augment in the guide section. I made one of those recently. Basically, you're putting the Voice of the Master and Mantle of the World Shaper together to make an augment that you can then slot into your gear, and you don't have to rely on swapping those two things in at the end of your quest. Later on in the leveling process, I think it's about a level 15 item, is it? There is also the Pale Green Ion Stone, which drops in a level 15 quest in Wayloon. I can't remember which quest that is. The one where you have to interrogate a prisoner before you start the quest off. My memory's failed me. Hang on, I'll cheat and just click on this thing. Shadow of a Doubt, it's called. The one with all the shadows. And that gives the same 5% bonus to experience points for completing quests, along with a 40 vitality bonus on hit points, which is quite nice. In fact, the last time in Heroic, this current life, Purple did find one of those. Okay, so that's the voices and things. Right, next one is your airship experience. So when you go to your airship, guild airship, and you collect your buffs, any reasonably sized guild will likely have a 5% experience bonus as part of those buffs. So keep your buffs current, and you'll boost a little bit your experience gained from quests. If you're thinking about starting your own guild, and experience is something you're looking into in boosting in that in your guild ship, as far as I remember, the first one, because it's something I did many moons ago, the first experience point with the first 1%, it can actually drop rarely in quests. So you may get lucky and find on the auction house, probably on the shard exchange, a deed for the experience 1 shrine. Now the 2% through to 5%, you have to upgrade using astral shards, the other in-game currency. That could be reasonably pricey if you're doing that out of your own pocket. So what would be some suggestions for ways to earn some of those? Selling potions of what's the top potion of mnemonic enhancement? Major mnemonic enhancer. I can never say that. Mnemonic. It's getting worse. Major portions of that. It's major portions of mana, I should call it. So selling those in bulk, let's say 20 at a time, you could make a few shards there. But probably better selling rare filigree. I'm sure there's some shards to be made there. What would class as a rare filigree? Sought after sets that lots of people would use. For example, the Dreadbringer set from the Salt Marsh. If you found something with like rare melee power Dreadbringer or rare ranged power, I'm sure that would fetch a decent number of shards. Failing that, at the moment, the latest expansion, the Dino one, the Isle of Dread, if you happen to have that available, you could do a run round the wilderness area rares. I've posted a little guide on that, and collect some of the crafting materials from there. And I've seen those posted on the Shard auction house for quite large sums. And it does take a while to get some of those, to craft the end game items. So I would reckon there could be quite a few shards to be made that way too. So that's another option if you're looking to boost your stock of shards. Now then, what else is it listing? Oh yes, experience elixirs. Now, consumables is not something I tend to spend DDO points on because my points are fairly scarce. However, I should mention that through running the Canith challenges, it's a series of little mini games and challenges located in House Kenneth. You can trade the ingredients that come from those for the lowest experience elixir, which is a 5%. I did do back in the day, I used to run the quest or the challenge Time is Money, which is quite quickly run, to collect ingredients to swap for these potions, but I ended up coming to the conclusion that I was spending more time running this quest to get the potions than the potions were actually worth. You know, the time I was spending doing it, I could have been doing an extra quest and got more experience. So I gave up doing that, but it's certainly an option. You can get the lower experience elixirs if you're really lucky on your daily silver dice roll. You can also, if you farm the collectible nodes in the game, if you're really lucky, there are rare drops, small and medium Eberron dragon shard fragments. Exchanging 3 of those, 3 of the small ones, at a trader, an NPC trader in the game, can net you a 10% XP potion for 6 hours, I think it is, which isn't bad. And exchanging 3 of the medium ones at a trader can net you a 20% potion, which again for 6 hours, so that's not bad at all. So that's why those things are so sought after. They rarely appear on the platinum auction house, but when they do, they can go for hundreds of thousands of plat, if not millions, those things. So that's a way to get experience elixirs if you don't want to actually purchase from the store. The store has higher elixirs, obviously, up to 50%. I think those are called sovereign XP. I think that about covers the the potions. I'll post some relevant links just in case you want to have a look in the description. That's I think that's about it. So yes, too long didn't listen version would be I got caught with my trousers down earlier in the week by somebody who knew a lot more about the experience system than I did, and I felt guilty enough about passing out duff information to try to go some way towards rectifying it. So the too long didn't listen version is stick to running quests on Elite or Reaper no more than 2 levels above the base level. So your character level should be no more than 2 levels above the quest level on normal for maximum experience. And I think that should conclude this mountain of waffle. Purple's about done with his sunbathing for the afternoon. So we will thank you very much for looking and speak to you soon. Take care.